Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today you're going to see the most damage I've ever done in the game playing for, I guess, about 12 years now. Last time it was playing in the 60 TP where we dealt 9,976 damage. Will we finally get to 10k today? You're going to have to wait and see. And you might all be thinking, deja vu, QuickyBaby, the tank that's going to improve your last damage total of 9,976 is the same tank that set that record 6 months ago earlier this year. Yeah, it is the 60 TP. Now, as you saw, I was deciding about whether I wanted to use vertical stabilizers or whether I wanted to use a turbo on the 60 TP. And I elected for a turbo. And that is because with the field mods on this vehicle, which improve its top speed limit by an additional 4 kilometers an hour, the turbo really scales very well on this tank. However, you know, that extra speed does come at a cost, and that is much worse gun handling. So maybe I miss a shot there on the EBR because I'm not using vertical stabilizers. I have two builds, as I mentioned, on this tank. Now, if I'm playing on a map like Live Oaks that you saw on the previous damage record that I set, I'm definitely going to take vertical stabilizers on that map. But on Malinovka, where I really need to try and get up on the hill as quickly as I possibly can, I think that the turbo holds great value. And also, once you've won the hill on Malinovka, it's quite often about making a push down through the forest that the enemies love to camp in. And if you have a turbo, as I mentioned, in addition to the 4 kilometers an hour top speed limit improvement field mod that you can get on this vehicle, then you can start to actually get up to 44 kilometers an hour forwards on this vehicle. That is not slow. And you take something which feels like it's meant to be this super heavy juggernaut of a ridgeline with 750 alpha damage, and it kind of becomes a bit more nimble, a bit more like an IS-4 or possibly even an IS-7, and it will outclass an E100 in pretty much every single way. The reason why I just keep having big damage games for this tank, I think it's because of the big alpha damage that the vehicle has, which allows you to outtrade your opponents. Combine that with the 8 degrees of gun depression, and also a great selection of ammunition, and wargaming allowing you to access that ammunition in a much, much faster fashion with intuition. It's really just been better and better and better for the 60 TP. This was the tank that I actually used on my free-to-play account to be able to get gold in ranked without ever using premium consumables, and I think firing a total of maybe between 5 and 10 gold rounds over an entire season of play. However, Wargaming have completely butchered that capability now, as they have nerfed high explosive rounds. Whether it was a good idea or a bad idea, I still think the community is split. But you have to adapt to the situation, and that is that the HE rounds are not nearly so competitive on this vehicle, and I would not play this thing in ranked exclusively with HE rounds to be able to achieve what I previously did free to play. And also the meta has shifted now. It's not all just Kranvangs sitting in hold down positions, and we haven't even had ranked in World of Tanks for about 8 months now, so we're going to have to see what happens there. I just love these big caliber guns. 152.7 millimeter on this vehicle. Sorry, 0.4 millimeter. Every millimeter counts, at least in some regards, right? But I digress. It actually does in World of Tanks as well. Because if I was using the E100's gun, which is 150 millimeter caliber, I wouldn't be able to overmatch the roof of a 60 TP, and cut shot there into the top of the VZ55. An E100 can't go overmatch a 50mm plate like it's on top of the 60 TP. However, a 60 TP can actually do that to each other. However, when they're using their gun depression, you can't quite find the overmatch of the roof plate, but you can still have a go at trying to be able to hit the weak point that you can see just to the top right there. That the new outline system just allows you to pinpoint, unlike it used to. So having dealt a killing blow to the VZ55 up on top of the hill, I felt like just sitting there and trading with those 3 vehicles, it's kind of just an RNG fest. So what I wanted to do is make a flanking play, and look at that, 45 around the slope, and with the turbo this thing just feels oh so nimble. It definitely revolutionized this vehicle with the field mods. Previously it just felt like this slow trundling tank that got to a ridgeline a lot like a Super Conqueror. Now it's kind of like a Super Conqueror with better top speed, higher alpha, but not even close to the damage per minute. But the 2,300 that this vehicle packs when you combine it with a gun rammer is absolutely no slouch. So we clap our way in to the side of the IS-7 there. The 60 TP looking like they want to be able to make their way forwards, but we're unable to find that tank. And now we're just still having to feather. Even though there is the improved outline system in World of Tanks, you still actually have to get your reticle on some part of the vehicle to figure out where it's going to be possible for you to shoot. And here we go. Should be a nice easy... Oh no. Oh, that's going to be drama. Shot into the side of the IS-7. He reappears damaged. But I could not remember how much health the IS-7 was on before. And so, while we know we have damaged that player, we don't know exactly for how much. Whether that's going to make a difference, whether this becomes a 10,000 damage game or a non-10,000 damage game, remains to be seen. I've already managed to go from like 9,961 up to 9,976. Are we going to be doing 9,999? I have to admit, it's really good for YouTube content, right? I kind of hope that I don't get 10,000 damage in this game, although obviously I know if I have done or if I haven't done. But because that'll be another opportunity to have a swing at the magical 5-figure sum. One thing that I really love about this game so far is I've only fired armor-piercing rounds. I haven't been spamming heat, or I haven't even really need to use the high explosive rounds. That's because the AP rounds on this vehicle, they're so large that they can manage to just either overmatch plates or alternatively AP with still fairly good pen on this tank of 250. You can do some work with that. So I'm thinking about going for the HE shell there. I guess it would have been greedy to try and chase the extra damage on the 60 TP. And well, it doesn't feel right to invest 750 damage into 24. I think in that situation, I might be outthinking myself, or I might be incredibly greedy if I don't finish off that 60 TP, because the other one knew what I was planning. So this artillery is definitely giving it to me. They've hit me for 214, 318, 152, and I took a hit from a 60 TP as well for 739. But when these tier 10 heavy tanks just have 2,630 HP, that's without a durability module on this vehicle, you just got hit points for days and you can just keep on going. So in this situation, it's a little bit more tricky to find that 60 TP. Probably should load a heat round here unless he turns his turret to the side. And I know that even with heat loaded, it's not guaranteed to be able to go through the side of a 60 TP turret if he's not fully angling at a 90 degree away from you. So I decided to go for the heat there, thinking I'd have to shoot him in the side because I'd likely ricochet my AP. But he turns his turret back towards me, but luckily our steady hand manages to get rid of the turret weak point of the 60 TP, and oh, that was a savage shot. We shut down the E50M as well, keeping our team in this game. And now I'm using the wreck of this IS-7, hopefully to avoid the continued barrage of the enemy artillery. Pretty much most of the damage I've taken so far this game feels like it's from artillery, although maybe it's just because it's hitting me so often. So here comes an Object 268 version 4. I probably should be a little bit further forwards here right now, trying to find the weak point, but I'm also worried about the gorilla down. So you see that I'm also worried about that artillery that hits me for 340. I use my med kit, I use my repair kit, and I try and get a shell on the 268 version 4. So now this is an awkward situation where heat is going to be worse against his tracks. So I actually change from a heat round to an AP round to be able to lock down the tracks of the 268 version 4. And because they're not using a durability module, that means that they don't repair their tracks very quickly. And I'm just praying that somebody's going to help me out, but really it's down to me in this situation. The artillery won't reload for probably about another 20 seconds. And their artillery is reloading, constantly hitting me, constantly stunning me, stopping me from being able to get a shell back into the tank. And we're going to have to hope that this Object 268 version 4 low rolls on me to give me an extra 5 seconds or so to be able to get the shell into the breach. And luckily for me, they actually managed to low roll. And I'm actually loading a high explosive round here, which is great because I can put one right through the side of the tank and 129 guaranteed damage. And while the artillery on my team tried to help me out against the 268 version 4, a little bit too late there, chap. 6,900 damage dealt, but don't forget the blind fire that we knew did a random amount of damage, unless you're some kind of Rain Man and you can remember what health exactly the IS-7 was on. But don't rewind the YouTube video. That would be defeating the point. Wait and see. And maybe we won't even be able to get to that 10k mark. But seeing how I've put in the title that it's a new damage record, and I said that I did 9,976 before, yeah, I don't think I can really pull the wool over your eyes with regards to that. Just wait and see. It's going to be an exciting one to say the least. But we're going to have to get through this game, and there's still more than enough hit points on the enemy team where I could set a new damage record, but also lose this battle as well. So we intuition switched there away from the HE round, I believe, to a high explosive anti-tank round, and now we get forwards, and look at how fast this thing is until I just break check my commentary. Thanks, past QuickyBaby. But I think I'm worried about getting caught by that leopard, and this is actually quite calm play. Do you notice how I'm swinging out here so that I actually get away from the maximum spotting distance of 445 from the leopard, which will hopefully allow me to be able to finish them off. And you'll see that I'm really trying to keep that 445 away from the leopard here so that hopefully I can swing up fully aimed and shut them down. And also, now that the leopard on my team has checked out the west of this map, we know that the gorilla on the enemy team won't be hunting me. So I actually managed to get spotted here, so I'm going to have to hope that when he fires at me, it lowers his camera rating. But actually, it's the Progetto on my team that spots them and allows me to finish off the leopard, securing my 5th kill of the game. 7,600 damage and change. And arty party, my goodness gracious, I'm down to 264 hit points. I ping the map to let my team know where the artillery is, say SPG in the chat, and just hope that that leopard is going to finish them off before Riddick on the enemy team ridiculously manages to just remove me consistently from this battle. Just absolute domination there from the artillery against my tank. And to be down 2,400 hit points, even though I've only taken 1 shot from a vehicle, it's a good achievement from the artillery there. So I choke the shot against the gorilla, but that gives me an opportunity to lurch forwards and hopefully try and pick up some of the health that's left on the enemy team. It's still pretty close though, it still could be a disaster, but when you've got this many guns as an advantage, or when you're playing 7 versus 3, and one of them's an artillery who's very close to death, I don't think you have to worry too much. Aiming, aiming, aiming. I've got a heat round loaded, so I actually have to aim slightly high there, because did you see the dashed marking, or the dashed overlay there was where there was a fence. And remember, high explosive anti-tank rounds do not go through fences. Luckily, our shell rolls true, and can you believe it? The artillery, with their parting gift, manages to hit me for another 118, leaving me 146 hit points. I tell you what, that arty definitely had it in for me. I don't have a med kit, I don't have a repair kit for another 2 seconds, but now I'm going to hopefully load HE, repair the gun, and I'm going to hope to the heavens that this rolls high on the Progetto. Come on, baby. 923? That's a decent roll, but it's actually, well, it's actually a low roll, because 950 would be the average, and this is deja vu, boys and girls. We got a low roll last time, which stopped us from getting 10,000 damage for the very first time in World of Tanks. Now I'm sitting on 9,284 damage that we've seen, but remember, we didn't manage to see how much damage we dealt to that IS-7 with the blind fire. So it's going to come down to RNG. Did we roll high enough? Will this be between 9,976 and 9,999, or will it be the first time I've ever dealt 10,000 damage in World of Tanks? Well, I'm happy to say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it was not a low roll. We managed to hit that IS-7 for enough to be able to hit 10,011 damage, which is my new record in World of Tanks. This happened during the Tech Tree showcase of the 60TP a few weeks ago, but I wanted to save this replay for today as it's my birthday. I'm 35 today, 35 trips around the sun, and I wanted to save this moment to mark the occasion. So, there you have it, ladies and gents, boys and girls. I'm the oldest I've ever been, and I'm doing the most damage, at least, that I've ever dealt in World of Tanks. And it couldn't have happened in a more fitting vehicle. The 60TP Lewandowski Go has always been a performer for me. It's got me into the gold leagues on my free-to-play account without all of the advantages that everyone uses. It's helped me manage to achieve gold in every single season that I've played in Ranked since the beta seasons of Ranked on my main account, and now it's setting new damage records. And really, the reason for it is the 60TP is like the very first tank at tier 10 that I got in World of Tanks. That was the E100. And the 60 TP is basically an E100 for, should we say, modern World of Tanks. It has a better turret, it has better gun depression, and it has field mods that now allow it to race around the battlefield like an E100 could only dream of. And while I'd say that the E100 is still absolutely no slouch, and it does better than a 60 TP when it's playing against tier 8 and possibly tier 9 tanks, everyone knows how dreadful the E100 is as soon as you're playing against tier 9 and tier 10 opponents with very good premium rounds. And so it feels very fitting for me that I started my tier 10 journey in a big boy alpha heavy, and I'm achieving my new records in a big boy alpha heavy. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's it for today. Really hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much to all of you for joining me on the journey this year of just hitting new damage records. I've dealt 9,000 damage in like what feels about 6 or 7 different tanks this year, including the 60 TP multiple times. And it feels really good to join the 5-figure club today in this video. Yeah, so anyway, really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And if you're watching this video as it's released on my birthday, aka Sunday, I'm going to be doing a special showcase today where it's not going to be a tech tree showcase, but I'm going to be showcasing all of my favorite tanks at all of the different tiers inside the game. And so come along tonight as you'll see what my favorite tanks are. They're not just going to be the most powerful tanks, they're going to be the ones that I really enjoy and feel close to. And so thank you so much once again, community, for joining me on this World of Tanks journey. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on Twitch live now. And yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching, all of you. I really appreciate it. I'm really lucky to be able to do this into my mid-30s, and I have absolutely no desire to stop anytime soon. Thank you.